All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's session. We have so many of you who are planned to join us today, which is super exciting. We're going to give you all just a couple of minutes to get situated, and then we will officially kick off. And in fact, we do have a quick poll just as you get in, just a quick icebreaker question. We want to know a little bit more about you. We definitely want to make sure that we can tailor today's session to your needs, to what you're here to learn. So give me just a second, and I'm going to go ahead and get this poll set up for you. Andres, can you see that?
Let's see here. The poll.
On the screen.
Yes. Yep.
All right, beautiful. Okay, everyone. So if you're here, feel free to drop in the chat what excites you most about offering estate planning to your clients. Or if you're not really there yet, tell us what's been your biggest challenge in getting started. And you can go ahead and plug this directly into the chat box. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. We want this to be as interactive as possible. While we get this kicked off, you're all here because you want to learn more about estate planning, right? We marketed this session as the advisor's guide to estate planning. There's plenty of data to validate this. There's also a lot of advisors who have shared their experiences implementing estate planning into their practices. It works. It's a great way to differentiate yourself. It wins business. It attracts prospects. It deepens client relationships. There's so many reasons, and that's why we're here. We truly want to take you through really what I've built to be, and we've built to be, a 3-part guidebook. So first off, why are we doing this? How are we doing this? And what are we doing to make it most successful? That's what you're going to get today. So just looking at some of the comments in the chat box, what do you think, Andres?
I love it. I think there's a lot about, advisors wanting to add more value, protect their clients. And then also number 3 that I just saw is also helping just getting your clients to complete the estate plan and deliver more comprehensive planning, which, Diana, when we first started working with advisors 5 years ago or so, I think we've seen a huge shift on reactive estate planning and proactive estate planning. And hopefully by the end of today's webinar, advisors feel a lot more confident on a proactive strategy on really helping drive clients to take action and deliver more value.
Yeah. I love that. I'm all about being more proactive in your business. I think it's the way of the future. I think reactive practices are going to fall behind, and advisors who are truly proactive with this, they're going to keep excelling. So this is exciting. Austin Brown says, having clients in 32 states, Trust and Will helps with that. Thanks, y'all. Thanks, Austin. Okay, so I say we move along. We've got a lot of good content in store today, and I want to do a little bit of a better job at trying to end this on time. I think our last webinar, we were 10 minutes over, and some of you were still here and asking lots of questions, and that was certainly very exciting, but we want to make sure we respect your time. So let's move along here to our agenda. So why estate planning is what we're going to cover first. So that's part 1 of the guidebook today. Part 2 is how to actually implement it. So we're going to show you a few different models. Part 3 are some easy marketing strategies that work. And we're also going to take a different approach to thinking about marketing when it comes to this specific topic. This is such an emotional topic. So I want to talk about that. And then, yes, we will do a recap, and we will have a live Q&A at the end. So if you have questions, there is a Q&A box here at the bottom. It's probably the best place to put your questions. There will be a lot of moments in today's session where we want to hear from you. We want your feedback. That's what's great for the chat box. But if you do have questions that you want us to answer at the Q&A at the end, it'll be easier to go through that question box versus a chat box with a lot of different messages. So moving along, Andres, I know, formal webinars say you should have a nice introduction to who you are. I think some people on this webinar probably know who we are at this point, but really quickly, I'm a chief evangelist at Trust and Will. My goal is to help educate advisors to grow their businesses with estate planning. And Andres, do you want to hop in real quick?
Absolutely. We essentially help lead our advisor partnerships, and we partner with over 15,000 advisors now. So we love learning from advisors, improving the product, and really empowering you as an advisor to help you drive more value. So super excited for today's call.
Beautiful. Okay, so I think maybe some of you are saying you're not seeing the slide. So give me just a second here, and we're going to figure out why that is. Shouldn't be happening, but let's start that one over. All right. How about that?
I can see it now.
Yeah, it's a little smaller, but sometimes it is what it is, and we'll keep it moving. We'll still make this just as impactful for everybody. Okay, so moving along here, part 1, right? Firms that are growing contribute their success to estate planning. Why? One quick point I want to make here is that if you think estate planning should be left to attorneys, I encourage you to think again. So let's dive into this. Andres, we recently launched a national advisor survey. We surveyed advisors all over the nation, not just using Trust and Will, but advisors who are maybe using other tools or who aren't doing, much estate planning at all, or who are just getting their feet wet with it. And here's what we found. 66% of advisors are reporting that their client relationships have become stronger. Let's talk about this. What are your thoughts on this?
Some of the big things that we've learned, Diana, is one, it's about retention of your existing clients. So how can advisors leverage estate planning to meet more with their clients, to have an additional value add when you have those semi-annual or annual meetings with your clients? And then part 2 is how can advisors actually leverage estate planning to help grow their business, to get client referrals? But at the end of the day, I think there's a lot behind the scenes around what we do for clients. There's the financial planning, there's the college planning, right? All the nuts and bolts that you spend a lot of time and effort on. But what we continue to learn, I think this stat did a really great job, is estate planning really helps go a layer deeper, getting to know your clients' values. Why is it that there's a fear about money, right? Because they want to leave money to their kids because maybe they didn't have that same experience. So in very different levels, I think estate planning just peels the onion another layer or two where you really get to have some like amazing conversations with your clients about what they really care deeply about, and advisors that are very proactive. And we even hear from advisors, Diana, that for prospects, like new clients, they actually lead with estate planning. And it's an amazing way to like really open up a lot of really good, fears, motivators that help lead to a client that says, gosh, Diana isn't just selling me this investments and here's what it can do for me. But Diana is really helping ask about my kids, my home, my strategy when it comes to like protecting my assets. And it builds trust very quickly for those prospects, obviously, in addition to those existing relationships that you have as well.
Absolutely. I like the idea of leading with estate planning. I've had some conversations with advisors who use Trust and Will, and it does feel like that's a really good approach for them. We're getting some really good questions and comments in the chat. And I just want to call something out because I made a statement about, think estate planning is just for attorneys, think again. What I really mean by that is the term estate planning, right? Being an estate planner is not just for attorneys. You, as financial advisors, you're also focused heavily around estate planning strategy. You are an estate planning strategist. You should be talking about these things with your clients. If you're helping them create these retirement accounts and preserve their wealth, well, what happens when someone passes away, right? Like what's happening to that wealth? You've helped them really build and preserve. So all of this is connected. It truly is. So thank you, Andres, for those points. And I think to kind of summarize some of what you were saying, we see more planning engagements. We see more prospects coming in the door. I'm going to share a story here in just a second. Deeper, more profitable relationships with existing clients, especially depending on how you structure the estate planning process in your business. And we're going to talk about that in part 2. Increase retention. And finally, and I think this one is one of the most important things here, beyond the growth, you as an advisor get a huge peace of mind that you're doing the right thing when you help your clients build their estate plan. This can't be beat, right? Growth is great, new clients, new prospects, deeper relationships, but that peace of mind that you're doing the right kind of work in your profession and with your business cannot be beat. Okay, so real quick story. This is Bob Chitrathorn. He and I did a webinar last month. If you weren't on that webinar, you got to listen to the replay. He is a vice president of wealth planning. He's a financial advisor, and he recently started using Trust and Will just 6 months ago, and he's already building out a cool process. The whole webinar was about following his framework. And he mentioned, he went to a concert with his clients and they brought their brother and sister-in-law. So, they brought some family with them. And of course, naturally, Bob takes that opportunity to bring up estate planning within those conversations. Yes, even at the concert, he just found that window to talk about, I help, my clients build estate plans. Do you have one? And even though they had relatively smaller assets right now, they valued the conversation. They immediately started saying, all right, Bob is someone who's knowledgeable on this topic. And now they are moving forward as an actual client. It's a $1.5 million client referral. So I don't know that I consider that small assets, but this story came straight from Bob. And it just goes to show it's a door opener. It's a really great way to talk to prospects, talk to people, and attract more business. Okay, let's do one quick discussion point. So this is what we're going to use the chat box for. How do you think your clients would react if you offered a seamless estate planning solution like a trust and will, but just a seamless estate planning solution where they could click a button, they could go take a quiz, they could have technology tell them what kind of estate plan they should build, a will or a trust, and what kind of trust, and then they could build it all in 30 to 45 minutes, have documents sent to their house in a beautiful format, and have a digital format as well. And you as the advisor be involved in the process. How do you think they would react?
I actually always love to hear the experience or stories from advisors that introduce trust and will, and their clients are like, wait, the company that I've seen like their commercials or their ads and things like that. So I think advisors always love like that brand, that trust with our brand that prospects or clients may already have and that familiarity with it. But I'm excited to see these responses as well.
I love that part about trust and will, because we have built that trust. That national brand recognition is so important. All right, we're getting great responses. They're loving it every time I bring it up. Very well. They're excited. All of my clients who have used it have appreciated it. Our clients have loved it. So it seems very positive, right? So if you're on this webinar and you haven't even, gotten into implementing estate planning yet, or you're really just trying to wrap your brain around what kind of process can you put in place, let these answers speak for themselves for you. Your clients want it. They appreciate it. They love the process. It builds such a nice relationship with you. So thanks everyone for chiming into the chat. We're going to move along here to part 2. So we're getting a little bit more into the how. And the first thing I want everybody to understand here, and we might spend a little bit more time here in part 2, is that you have options when it comes to implementing estate planning. And we want to show you how some of the most successful advisory firms are doing it. There are different ways to go about it. There's certainly one way that we probably recommend because we've seen it just to be the most seamless and integrated. But the beautiful thing about a tool like Trust and Will is you have some flexibility here. So Andres, you've worked with so many advisors with estate planning. I mean, we've got some really big partnerships out there, LPL Financial, Northwestern Mutual. I want to hear from you, like what kind of business models are you seeing across the board? What's working the best? And what do we have available?
Yeah, there was some earlier question, and I love how eager everyone is here on like, what's a subscription? How does it cost? Which I love. Some of the things that we've seen change, I would probably say in the last 3 quarters or so, Diana, are advisors. Like we've seen a lot of different advisor like websites and like their value proposition. There's always the holistic, comprehensive planning, but truly estate planning has come to a different level in the last probably 3 quarters or so. Meaning we now have firms that are really prioritizing financial planning engagements with their clients. It is one of their biggest value propositions to say, you can go on Wealthfront and they can manage your accounts very affordably, or you can work with me and I can create a financial plan and this is what it means. Advisors and firms are now prioritizing what estate planning means to the financial planning engagements. So we now have most of our RAs coming to us to say, I want to make estate planning feel like it's an extension of my services, obviously in a compliant way, and we can talk more about that. But I want my client to know that this is a value add that they're getting from working with Mazabel Financial Planning. So firms will come to us and say, I want to make that part of my offering. So they will pay us an annual subscription in which it unlocks you 2 things. 1, access to 100 estate plans per year that you can essentially include and implement into your financial planning practice. So if you do maybe, 15, 20 financial plans a year, for both existing clients and new clients, you can now add on an estate plan to that financial planning engagement.
Nice.
We have advisors that will include that at the same flat fee. We have some advisors that will increase the fee, because not because the client is drafting documents, but because they're helping with facilitating some of that. So it could be driving the education. It could be collecting some of the assets that need to be included as part of that estate plan. And that's been our most successful model, because it really helps you, I think, do two things: have control over the process, extend and add more value to your planning services that you're providing. And then, as we've talked about, like, uncover a lot of opportunities. Our platform and our advisor dashboard, which I think we now have over like 15,000 advisors that are signed up and using it, it helps you have oversight over the different life stages that your clients go through. So imagine going from a reactive estate planning strategy, which is, oh yeah, I sent Diana to the attorney, I think they got it done, I think they met with the attorney, to being able to log in and say, yep, I have my annual review with Diana. I know she moved to Florida, and I can log in and I can see, do my clients' life changes, are they reflected in their estate plan? Most of the time, no. I just moved to Texas. I need to go through the same process. So it's really being that proactive quarterback for your client, as you are on many other aspects of what you do with them, but now really helping really drive and implement the estate planning piece when it comes to that. I'm guessing we're going to get a lot of questions on pricing. I'll give you a high level overview. It's $4,000 for one advisor. If you have other advisors as part of your firm, it's $2,000 additionally for other seats. And obviously, as a call to action, you can schedule a call with our team to learn a little bit more. But Diana, I would probably say that's been the biggest shift is advisors really driving and leading with estate planning as part of that financial planning engagement with their clients.
Love that. And I mean, so much of our lives operate off of subscription models. And I don't mean to say that to sound robotic or super capitalistic, but it just makes it easier, right? It makes it just more seamless. So I love that you led with that. I think it's super important. If you're looking at the screen here, you can see, seat-based pricing is top, right? And then you could also have the option of having your clients pay per plan. But again, we're seeing a lot more advisors shift into that seat-based pricing model. That truly is the way of the future. As far as like charging back to clients, what would you say on that point, Andres? Because a lot of advisors, I mean, maybe I should say it's about 50-50. Some advisors, they know that they're going to be putting in a lot of additional work or some additional work into this process. They're going to be marketing the offer. They're going to be talking to clients at annual reviews about it. They're going to maybe have a separate meeting to help the client go through the technology, or just after the fact, talking about what to do to fund the accounts that they're setting up, like a trust, for example. How are some of these advisors charging for estate planning, and do all of them charge? Because I've seen the other half say, well, I'm okay. I kind of look at that $4,000 a year as a marketing expense, and it is what it is.
Yeah. I actually love that, because we just had a conversation with an advisor last week, and it's so twofold. There's the advisor that says, my clients are paying me either AUM or financial planning engagements. So as part of that fee, I am going to include an estate plan, and my clients are not paying for it. It is coming out of what they're paying me annually. And Diana, to your point, we have many advisors that are seeing this as a marketing investment in being able to say, okay, well, how much does it cost for me to acquire a new customer if I do ads, or if I buy a lead from Smart Asset, et cetera, versus what if I really leverage and lead with estate planning to get new clients? So we have I would probably say 40, maybe 50% of the advisor that don't charge their clients for it, it's included. And then the other 50, maybe 60, are driving revenue from it. And if you're even, for example, like an LPL affiliated advisor, you can go to our internal landing page for LPL, where you can see the guidance from compliance on how you can charge, right? So if I, for example, do $2,000 for a financial plan, well, I can potentially increase that to $2,500. I have to add value. I have to help facilitate. I have to help kind of quarterback the process. But it does help in helping cover some of the overhead on however you're going to be involved. But I will say what advisors love about our solution is the ease of use for how your clients interact with us. So this isn't to say, Doug, you need to be very well trained on our platform because your clients are going to come to you. And actually, I think this could be a good segue into the next few slides that show you, I think we've helped close to 1 million families so far since we started the company. So this is where when we look at our bread and butter is like making the estate planning experience for your clients simple, easy, but more importantly, feel supported. If they have questions, they can talk through our support team. If they want to engage with an estate planning attorney through our solution, they can do that. We have that ability to do that as well.
Wonderful. Let's get into these next few slides. Let's show everyone on the call, like, what are your clients experiencing when they get into a trust and will and they start building their plan? So Andres, I think you're probably the best person to talk through this.
Amazing. So put your client hat on. We will then walk you through the advisor hat on what you're going to look through what an advisor does. But this is a client going through the process. So first and foremost, very TurboTax-like, meaning simple interface, a lot of education, and very clean UI. This is something that we hear often is it creates trust with your clients on, I am making very important decisions on a platform that feels very well put together. And right off the bat, as I've talked about, it enables your clients to get support right away. So they're not coming to you, Matt, on saying, I have questions. You just sent me the link. Can we walk through this? Your clients engage with us. So that's super important. 2, we've simplified the whole process so that it's broken up into 4 sections. So here in this example is how do you want your assets to be distributed, right? So it's simple. I can go through, I can come back and make changes. And then in this example here, maybe I got started and I told my spouse, this looks good. This looks simple. But maybe my spouse is like, we should talk to an attorney. Let's have that peace of mind. And that's totally okay. So from this is where your clients can still add on attorney support. They are contracted attorneys that we vet. They vet us, and they're enabled to provide your clients with legal advice for 12 months, which is a very, very unique experience for your clients as they go through that. And then they're going to keep answering questions. They're going to go through the full experience. They get documents shipped out, instructions on notarization, trust funding. If they did a trust and they need to transfer over their home into the name of the trust, we can help them. We actually have a partnership with Bundle that can help them do that. So we think about the whole experience, even the notarization, if they want to have a mobile notary come out to their homes. And then from our perspective, this really helps unlock the relationship with us and complement the financial planning engagements that you do when it comes to that.
Love it. All right, let's talk about what advisors experience.
Amazing. This is the fun part. And so this is where, as advisors, you can really help drive 3 things: education, accountability, and help uncover opportunities. So first and foremost, you get access to a dashboard. And this is where you're going to be able to really think of it as like your CRM, if you will, for anything regarding trust and will and estate planning. So if I get a client to go through the process, send them the referral, I can log in, I can see what clients, what have they done, what have they not done. 2, we have education. And I just got off a call right before this with an advisor that's done 15 plans in a quarter, which is amazing. And he told me, he's like, Andres, I use your resources all day long. Yeah. So the checklist, and by the way, these are all checklists that we create based on feedback from you. So where you can send a checklist to your clients and it helps them actually walk through all the decisions in the estate plan. What's an executor? What's a beneficiary? What are the distribution options? And what the advisor just told me an hour ago is that it helps him, Tim, actually drive all these steps and get the client ready. And throughout the process, he's able to uncover opportunities. Who is the successor trustee? Do they know who you are as an advisor if something happens? So long story short, there's a lot of education. And then as your clients go through the process, they engage with us and our support team. You get notifications. Diana started. Here's where she's stuck. She finalized the process. Here's the last time they made an update. And then once your clients complete the process, I think this is where the fun really begins. No longer do you have to like get the attorney to send you the documents and spend 30 minutes going through and reading them. You now get access to their estate summary and their estate plan report. So think, I have a visual that I can see my client's assets, decisions, distributions, all in one screen. And this updates real life. So if Diana, when she moved to Florida, I can see, oh, nope, Diana has not updated her estate plan to reflect that she now lives in Florida, right? So it has that proactive insight for you as advisors. And then the estate plan report, which is essentially a visualization where you can see all your clients' decisions in a very clean visualization that includes definitions. So it helps both the advisor and the client really make sure you know who's the executor, but there's a digital executor. What's the differences between the two? So what we're learning is it helps advisors like uncover and deepen those relationships. And also, the more that your client understands what's in the estate plan and why it's so important to them, the more that they're going to remember, oh crap, I had a change in my life. I need to reach out to my advisor if they don't know about it, et cetera. So there's a long, a lot to say. There's a lot about visibility and uncovering up those opportunities for you as advisors to really help drive that value.
Amazing. Wow. Thank you, Andres, for walking us through that. And by the way, if you're on this call, we will happily send you a copy of all these slides. If you just want to take time with it after the call, we will definitely include that in our follow-up email. We'll also include this template if you want to use it. So we've got an entire toolkit that I'm going to show you here shortly. Some of you may have already seen it before if you're using Trust and Will, but when you start using Trust and Will, you've got social templates, email templates, a landing page template you could use to get started. So really, this is one of several different ways to get started. I personally just love this email template, so I wanted to pull it in. But you look at that subject line: when should you make an estate plan? And then the body kind of starts off with, hey, are you curious about when you should start planning? Spoiler: the answer is probably now, right? So you're kind of creating some of that curiosity with your clients, which is a really good way to get them moving. We all know sometimes clients just won't take action. That's what we're here to help with. We're here to help with that, with communication, but also with really easy technology so that they really don't have any excuses. So feel free to use this as you wish as you get started with estate planning. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to launch an actual poll here. So it's going to pop up on your screen here, and I am interested in your responses. If you want to take part here, you can go ahead and submit your vote. Andres, did anything pop up on the screen for you?
Let's see, we have a poll question. Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, good. So what would make implementing estate planning into your business most appealing? Like, what is most appealing to you? You can select more than one option, by the way. All right, and I'm seeing all the numbers come in right now. We've got a couple in the lead here: differentiating your services, attracting new clients. Those two are top. I think a lot of us on the call are focused on growth, as you should be, right? If you're running a healthy business, in order to keep it healthy, there's a certain level, a certain extent that you should focus on growth. It's just how we evolve. So as these wrap up, we're still getting a few more people answer the poll. Thank you. Thank you. Some of you in the chat even said, hey, relationship stickiness. If you're not seeing the poll, you might be able to click a button that says polls in sort of the menu bar.
On the bottom right next to questions, if you click on polls, that's where you can find it right there.
Beautiful. Thank you for that.
Of course. But I love it. Looks like the top one is differentiating your services, which I love. Second one is attracting new clients. And I want to quickly touch base on this. Yeah. We were talking to an large enterprise, we won't name them today, and they were doing some interviews with prospects, why they went with that firm compared to firm B. one of their clients, and I think it was like a $2.5 million client, went with this firm because they led with the estate planning piece, and they were being very clear that they offer estate planning as part of their services. Again, not saying you're going to draft documents, you're not going to say, we have attorneys, no, but that you have estate planning services and partnerships built in to help you scale estate planning. And so I just really want you to think about how you market estate planning to your prospects on your websites, how you engage with your existing clients or even funnel on what estate planning education. I think that screenshot you had before, Diana, on that email template. But at the end of the day, it's a lot about just making sure that you are clearly communicating that estate planning is an integral part of your services, because clients are looking for it. I can tell you that much. In interviews, I think there's like 2 or 3 studies. I think we stopped showing the Spectrum study because it's like 2 years old, but it was like, it's a huge gap of like clients that work with advisors. They expect that, they have that assumption now that you as an advisor are helping with estate planning.
Yeah. And if something were to happen in the future and they're to say, well, wait, I don't have a plan for all of this, why didn't you help me with that? Then, that really, unfortunately, kind of falls on you, and that's going to sour the relationship. And we don't want that. Somebody said in the chat earlier, like, every client wants the financial house under one roof. And I could not agree more. And this is absolutely something that's part of that. That's in the house. It's a very important part of the house. So thank you, Andres, for that. And thank you for everybody who responded to the poll. 34%. 34%, said differentiating your services. Absolutely. This is an excellent way to stand out right now, because there's still a lot of advisors who don't handle this, who don't get involved in the conversation. Okay, we're going to move along here, and we're going to move along to part 3. And I called this the what, because really it's about what you're going out and what you're saying to your clients, to your prospects, on your website, on your social media. And I want to do sort of a mental shift here. So we think about marketing as a way to grow our business. Yes, is how we're showing up in the market. But oftentimes advisors can get mentally stuck with how to best market themselves because they don't really know where to start, and maybe they're overthinking it. And so I like to simplify the fact that marketing in this case is really just about educating. There are so many people out there who know estate planning is important, but they need education. And so if you just make that little mental switch, it actually becomes a lot easier for you to start marketing your offer, to start marketing estate planning, because really what you're doing is just going out and you're educating. And we're going to look at what that looks like here. There's a few resources here that I'm going to drop in the chat. And these are just some of our probably most popular resources that advisors send out to clients that, they'll put it on their blog, or they'll make a video out of it even. Take this resource and get yourself on camera and talk about the difference between a will and a trust. Or hey, what is estate planning? Or what happens when you pass without a will? What happens when you pass without a trust? I dropped a few links in the chat. I didn't drop all of them, but again, you'll get these slides. You can easily click on these links and let it inspire you. That's something that some of our most successful advisors do well, is they look at what we're doing on the front lines and they say, okay, that's inspiring me to create my own content that has a similar message. We're here to do that. We're here to inspire you. So this advisor toolkit, I mentioned it a moment ago. I'm just going to quickly walk you through this. If you're using Trust and Will, you have access to this toolkit. And this is really where you can confidently launch your partnership with us and kind of announcing us as a strategic resource, but also, putting yourself in that position of saying, hey, I'm going to help you with estate planning. There's email templates from just a plain old announcement to some education like Estate Planning 101 that you can get your hands on. And I'm scrolling through a little bit fast here. But as you get through this, you can see how the language changes a bit. It starts off with an announcement to then, well, hey, when should you make a plan? Why should you do it? Estate Planning 101, if not now, when? So you're really motivating and incentivizing your clients to take action. Social media, we have a few templates here that you could grab easily. Some of our advisors also just kind of create their own thing on Canva, and they'll throw both of our logos on it. If you do that, just let us know. We'll take a quick look at it, make sure it looks good. And then you have a landing page, option here. So if you want to build a separate page, whether that's on your website or it's a different marketing funnel, if you're even more of an advanced marketer as an advisor, you can just copy all our resources. So links to point them to take that quiz to understand where they should be starting, even some frequently asked questions. By the way, this is a really good SEO tip. If you include frequently asked questions on your website somewhere, the chances of your website popping up in search results like Google, but even in AI search results, since people are also using ChatGPT to search now, are much, much higher. So just having this in general is such a value add for you, and in so many different ways. I did do a webinar a few months ago. This was maybe back in October. Time flies. 5 marketing tactics to promote estate planning. If you are interested in the slide deck, it is right here on the screen. Feel free to scan the QR code. You can get that slide deck directly to your phone. And if I can do it by the end of the webinar, I'll also just include it in a link in the chat for you. Okay, so let's do a quick interactive exercise. Here's the thing. Here's what I've realized. On these webinars, Andres and I can tell you what to do. We can tell you, what we have available for you as far as resources and marketing content. But I want to get your hands a little dirty here, right? Because I think it's going to be more impactful for you. So just pretend you are going to come up with some positioning in your marketing. And I want you to draft in the chat 1 sentence describing the value of estate planning for your clients. Just 1 sentence. That's it.
Oh, I love this, Ayana. We've never done this before. This is your marketing guru background. I'm super intrigued on this.
Thanks. Let's see. And don't be shy. Seriously. And there's no right or wrong answer here. We'll give you some live feedback as well. Got a lot of you typing, and we've got a lot of questions. So I'm excited we have a dedicated Q&A here. We'll work through some of these questions. All right, Jamie says, reduces stress for your loved ones. That is powerful. Why is that powerful? Because everybody cares about their loved ones. They want their loved ones to feel good. So there's a psychological component going on there, which all great marketing is great psychology. George says, protecting their income and assets. The word protection, it's a big one. Making sure that we dot the I's and cross the T's. Thank you, Kevin. I like that too. It's a little fun play on words, and it's relatable, actually. People have grown up saying that phrase. So I like relatability marketing.
We got some good creative responses here. I really, Elizabeth, I loved yours. How you feel when someone gets to distribute your assets to someone you don't know, or what getting your assets. And I think that's all about education. Many people just don't even understand the impact of not having an estate plan. And once advisors really help drive that education, then it's a game changer for your clients. You're like, I am doing this, and I need you to hold me accountable to it. And I actually wanted to chime in here because I know in the past, we always get a lot of questions on what is my role around estate planning? And I just want to open up compliance. Let's talk about it, right? Because I think this has a lot to do with it. So it is, I think, and I used to be licensed, my 766 for over 10 years. I think it is our responsibility as advisors to make sure that our clients understand the importance of what an estate plan is, that they have the resources and accountability to make sure that they have it done in place. And then 3, as I engage with my clients for years and years, that their estate plan is up to date as their life changes. Meaning it is not, Jeremy's role or Danny's role to provide a product recommendation on a trust or will. It is not your role to input information on behalf of your client. So it's really helping you quarterback in many ways the ability for your clients to draft or update their documents. And then we try to make it as easy as possible for your clients, in that they go through, they walk away with a meeting with you, and they're like, gosh, that was such a helpful meeting. I feel like I know what I need to do now. And then they engage with us. They engage with our support team, our attorney team, and then you have full visibility. Obviously, your clients have to give you control or the ability to view documents, et cetera, because it's their data, right? But most of your clients, they're going to want to share that with you. And then you have a visibility. So it just creates this cohesive feeling for your clients that estate planning truly is an extension of what you do in a very compliant manner with the way that we work with Trust and Will.
You're protecting them, we're protecting you. That's kind of what I pull out of that, right? Like you use the technology to protect you, and they're using the technology to protect their assets and their legacy. That is so well said, Andres. Thank you for adding that, because this comes up a lot. A lot of advisors are, asking, well, what can I say? What can I not say? And you definitely want to be careful, but that's why the technology is there to guide you. All right, I'm going to call.
Also, I would just add one more thing on that is we have like various different advisors that are like, some are very well versed on estate planning. Some are getting familiar with it. You don't have to be an expert. It is drive education, send the referral link, make it part of your process, which we help you with. For all advisors on our subscription, we have a full account management team. So Diana, everything that you're going through, the marketing, the toolkit, we don't just send you a link and we're like, Diana, welcome. You figure it out. We walk you through your dedicated account manager who's going to come up with a strategy to help you make sure that however you want to implement estate planning, we help you deliver an experience that fits that. And then we're going to be there along the way. If you have a question, if you have an idea, etc. So just want to add that on because I think that's an important part of it as well.
Very important. And I'm going to call out one quick one that I loved here. Danny said, make sure your legacy is passed along in the manner you see fit. And the word you is also very powerful in marketing because everybody wants something for them. So that was a great response, Danny. I had a couple comments in the chat. Someone said, well, you're getting these from ChatGPT. You got to believe in your fellow peers, your fellow advisors. Some of you really are just creative. Maybe some of you use ChatGPT. That's okay. All right, we're going to hit the Q&A. We're going to do a recap, hit the Q&A, but I want to show you this quick video first. If your volume's all the way up on loud, maybe toggle it down just a hair. I don't know how loud this is going to come in for you, but I just feel like this is such an important video for you to see. It really represents the voice of the advisor. So we'll hit play here.
How is Trust and Will simplify your...
Okay, it seems like some of you couldn't hear it. I'm not sure. I thought I did that right, but if
I heard it.
You heard it? Okay, great. All right, so it might just be a couple of us. Okay, so let's do a quick recap. Again, I really wanted to share the voice of the advisor. I think it's super duper important. Great, some of you also heard it. Okay, wonderful. All right, so moving along, a quick recap here. A few points. Remember the why. Right? Estate planning is so important if you're trying to build a truly holistic business, and that is the business of the future when it comes to financial advisors. If you're in growth mode, it's also a great way to attract new business. And we saw from the poll today, many of you are trying to grow, you're trying to differentiate. And in order to grow, you need to differentiate. Copy, edit, and paste. And I say this because we literally give you everything you need to make this happen, to make it successful. You don't have to create a whole new wheel. Like, we already have it all for you. Market to attract. Remember, marketing is educating. Educating is marketing. So lean on us to inspire you. Use our content. Create your own content if you want. And that is how you're going to draw more people in, draw more clients and prospects to work with you. And then finally, remember, this is about staying competitive. So there are a lot of advisors out there who are doing this now, who are having success, and you can do this too. And in fact, the more advisors that jump into this, it honestly means if you don't get into this, right, you sort of lose that competitive edge. So we want you to stay competitive. Now we're going to get to the Q&A here. I did want to go ahead and give everyone the opportunity here to book your estate planning strategy session. So I'm going to leave this up on the board here as we do Q&A. If you want to scan it, we'll also drop a link here in the chat for those of you to go ahead and click the link to book some time. And I do have one last poll. So I'm going to publish this poll again. If you click the polls button at the bottom, you can see it. This will also just help our team be in touch with you. So there's a few different ways right now to get in touch to take a next step. Feel free to answer the poll. You can scan the QR code or click the link in the chat that we just dropped to schedule a demo with our team, or just type the word estate in the chat. Totally up to you. I like to give options, as you can see here. Okay, while we have this up, I think now would be an amazing time to go ahead and answer all of your questions. There are many of them. So Andres, what do you think? Would you like me to go through and sort of call them out loud and we kind of take some turns here?
That sounds good, Diana.
Okay. All right. So Jesse asks, what are the fees your attorneys charge to probate a will?
So we currently don't offer probate services. So attorney services through our platform are for the drafting of new or existing documents if your clients are updating them. And it's essentially, it's $300 for your client to have to unlock the ability to engage with that attorney for 12 months. If you have clients that do need to go through probate, we do have referrals that your clients could leverage for them to actually engage directly with that attorney. But obviously, those fees are going to vary on the attorney, the state that they live in, et cetera. But it is a flat fee, all 50 states, for attorney services for clients that need to draft or update their documents through our platform.
Beautiful. Okay, James asked, the 100 plans, is it 100 trust and will documents? That one pays for $4,000?
Yes. So give you an example, it could be 40 trust-based plans, 60 will-based plans. And we also didn't have this on the screen, but our documents are super comprehensive. Power of attorney, HIP authorization, living will, guardianship, the full 9 yards. If your clients are doing a will-based plan, it includes a testamentary trust if they want to include that in there. So very, very comprehensive for those estate plans.
That's awesome. Okay, I have two questions. How much is the cost to the client to engage an attorney? I think you just said it. I don't know if we specified that. Second, who is responsible for funding their trust? Is the client responsible?
It's definitely on the client. We have a lot of resources when it comes to it. And also we've learned that many advisors want to be very hands-on when it comes to this. But I'll give you an example. Your clients get the trust. They have a trust funding guide on their application, meaning like online on their dashboard. They're going to be able to see what my next steps are, with one of them being the trust funding side of it. And then if your clients do want to, for example, put the name of their home into the name of the trust, they can do that with bundle. It's $140 plus local recording fees. They do everything. They do the recording, the research, the title research, the full 9 yards. So a ton of resources for you all when it comes to that.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Okay, let's see here. Tim. Hey, Tim. Thanks for coming here. There might be more than one Tim. Is there a way on the advisor dashboard to add more visibility for those clients that have executed and uploaded their estate plans?
So right now you're able to see the last time they made updates to the estate plan. That is a great question. That is actually something that we're working towards to increase that visibility. So I'll give you an example. Maybe I can log in and I can see Diana made an update on this date. In what part of the estate plan did Diana make an update to the estate plan? So we're always looking at ways on finding proactive opportunities for you to uncover, and also for you to see if your client has made any updates to the estate plan. So definitely a lot of things we're thinking of. I'd actually love if you have specific ideas to actually going to drop in a link here where you can actually give us feedback and some ideas. And we have product managers specifically working on advisors that we just love to learn from you and how we can better serve you.
Absolutely. You guys really do help drive the evolution of the platform. We love hearing from you, as Andres said. So, and we got some upvotes on that one, so that's good. All right. So Elizabeth asks, is there a help desk for advisors?
Absolutely. So to be super clear, for advisors, we have a whole team. You work with us, you're either on seat-based pricing or not, you have a dedicated support team. So if you have questions on the platform, maybe a specific client, resources, feedback, advisor-facing support. For your clients, we have a whole nother team, as you can expect, much bigger team, because we do hundreds of thousands of estate plans. So your clients have a whole separate team that they engage with as they go through the process.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. I really like this question here because I think it brings up a point about who we're a fit for, who we're not a fit for. How can a templated process address the many nuances that can come up when getting into family dynamics and legacy planning? It seems like not addressing the emotional side or executional side of planning would be a risk.
That's a good question. And I'll tell you that estate planning is not very kind of black and white, right? It can be complex. And that is where we've always encouraged advisors. It is not on you as an advisor to like determine who's a fit, who's not. Advisors that get very, very familiar with our platform, and we have actually a lot of resources. I'm dropping this in here specifically for this question, but who's a good fit for trust and will. But in short, there's going to be scenarios outside of this that your client isn't going to be able to like really know. So I will tell you that is where our attorney network is going to be most helpful. Your clients engage with our attorneys, and in some cases they go through the process and the attorney is going to be like, no, you need a much more complex estate plan, or this is, whatever the scenario might be. And we might tell your client they're not a fit for what we have. And that's totally okay, right? We'll work with your client to like offload them, if you will. But at the end of the day, it's really making sure that you feel really comfortable with who's a fit. And if you have questions, both as an advisor or as a client, that you know where to go to get that support.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay, so let's see here. I got lost here in what question I wanted. Great response there. And I think for this next one, I like this question because, again, it kind of reflects all that we're doing at Trust and Will to work towards making the platform even better and better and better. So Kyle asked, do you have a review existing document service like wealth.com?
How did I know that question would come up? Yeah, so no, we don't, but it's coming soon. That's all I can say. Literally, we internally as a team, we demoed it last week. We're making really strong progress on it. And if you ever want to get on if you're an existing Trust and Will user and you want to test some of our tools that we're launching and building, please reach out to us, advisors@trustandwill.com, and we'd love to hear your feedback on it. So it's coming soon.
Awesome. That is amazing. Okay. All right. So moving along, that answers your question as well, Matt, about existing, trusts or wills that need updating. Jim says, is there a way to go in and see what the client would see going through their process?
You can go in and actually see your whole client's progress. So you can see, if I'm 25% in, I can see all the data input for my client, which makes it really, really nice to have that visibility. So assets, distributions, if they've completed the whole process, I can actually go in and see that, which is amazing.
Yep, you can go through their experience. Super important, by the way. If you're going to talk through what they're going to experience, you want that confidence that you actually know what they're going to experience. Jared asked, can you elaborate on the mobile notary process?
Yeah, so your clients complete the process, and they're, for example, in California, we provide instructions on notarization. So that could be UPS. If they don't want to go to UPS, we have a partnership with a mobile notary company that they can plug in their home address, zip code, and if there's a mobile notary available in that city, then they can request that. And then the notary would literally come to your client's home to be able to do that. We also have e-notarization, but it's only available in like 6 states. And it's not a trust and will limitation. It's a legislative limitation that we're working towards. But long story short, we see a future where your clients in the future will be able to literally create documents online within minutes when they're ready, have a notary come up online and be able to notarize that virtually and not have to go to a UPS or anything like that. So we're working hard legislatively to be able to get that live in all 50 states as well.
Awesome. And Balaji, I hope I said your name right. Beautiful name, by the way. Will clients meet you for their estate planning needs like they meet me for financial planning, or are you something like LegalZoom?
Let me reread this really quick. Will clients meet you for their estate planning needs?
Really, this is where our attorney network comes into play and where the technology comes into play, Balaji, because when they're going through the technology and they're answering the questions, responding to the prompts, it's going to guide them to what their best option is to build that estate plan. And then they're going to input the information. Now, you can certainly help them with this process. We give you resources to help them, like, hey, these are all the things you should think about before you actually get into trust and will and start filling out the questionnaire and, creating your estate plan. And then again, we support you in that interim, and you have attorneys through Trust and Will that they can contract for $300 for a 12-month period to really get to those legal specifics. Because remember, we don't want to put you in that position if you don't have that type of education or licensing, right? If you're not an attorney, then you shouldn't be put in that position. We give them the resources to do it.
Yeah, and I would just add there, I mean, with the attorney process, I mean, your clients meet with the attorney. They're going to go through and ask, what assets do you have? What's your family dynamic? And then what are you looking to achieve? And then they're going to help provide that literally education and recommendation, just like you do with financial planning, on the most effective way to structure the estate plan that matches the needs that your clients have.
Wonderful. We have one question that's got a few upvotes just in the chat box. So sorry, guys, I was neglecting the chat box here. I was in the Q&A box. Someone says, if we have a paid seat and use some of the marketing materials, like when should you start estate planning, and a client reads these links, will it redirect them directly to Trust and Will, or will it redirect them to the advisor's account to set up their trust or their will?
Great question. It is going to be your own unique link. And via that link, you're going to have the notifications on if your client started, if they finalized it. We actually have some advisors that put this link on their website so they can actually see like prospects that they may not be working with currently that are going through the process. So it's an amazing tracking tool to give you that visibility as you go through that as well.
Wonderful. And we're constantly working on building out more and more of these marketing materials, especially if you have a subscription model of fee-based pricing with us, because we know, again, you're really integrating this pretty tightly in your business. So we want to make that as seamless as possible. Thanks, guys, for echoing that question and getting it in front of me. Taryn has a good question. Up to what net worth is this platform suitable before you would advise a client to sit down with an estate attorney?
Yeah, I would probably say like anywhere in that, up to 5 million to get much more granular, because we recently pulled real data for an enterprise that we're working with. Most clients using our products when they're referred by an advisor are kind of under $2.5 million in assets. Excuse me.
Okay, super. Guys, we have one more minute left, and I mentioned I wanted to get you out of here on time. If you still have a question, if I didn't get to it, I do apologize. There are a lot. But what I would recommend is going ahead and booking some time with our team. We will answer all your questions in as quick as time as you want us to. If you only want to meet for 10 minutes, that's fine. We'll meet for 10 minutes. We'll answer your questions. We're also going to send an email follow-up with the recording of this call with the slide deck so you can have all those resources. And in that email, you can just hit the respond button and ask our team questions that you didn't get answered today. There is a really juicy end of meeting question here from Kyle. He says, why trust and will over wealth.com or estate guru? And Kyle, I really invite you just to come see the platform in action. I think what we found that's sort of resounding across the industry is that we do have the best interface. And remember, that is so important for building trust with your clients. And wherever maybe we don't have a feature, we are already building it. So, I mean, that's from my perspective. Obviously, I'm biased, but there's also a reason that I stand here in partnership with Trust and Will, and why Andres has been part of this company for so many years. It's a fantastic company. We're here to help you see this through and do this right. So I'm going to end it there. Andres, any parting words?
Thanks everyone for being here, spending literally an hour with us. We're super excited to connect with you. If you don't have a relationship with us or interested in learning more, set up a call. We'll learn more about your practice. We'll share more details about what we do. And then from there, you can decide if this is something that you want to potentially explore further or not. But outside of that, your time is our greatest asset. So super grateful for you to be here, and we'll see you next time.
Absolutely. And if you want to hang out, I just dropped the call link in the chat box. If you're interested, click that before I go ahead and end the event in the next 5 or so seconds. Everyone, thank you so very much for being here. You guys were fantastic, and we will see you on the next webinar.
Thanks so much. Have a great day.